Good afternoon. It's another Tuesday, which means we have another full out chat. I'm your host, Steve Solberg, and today we have Jay Hollman joining. I interviewed his awesome wife, Whitney, a few weeks ago, and I was like, man, I got to get Jay. Whitney was a great, awesome interview, and I'm like, I got to get the other side of this story also. And so excited to talk to Jay, hear his story, how he got into cheerleading, how he ended up at UCF, his story. Also, I had Jay on earlier on our USA Coed episode. He had a couple of really funny stories. Like I said, you really want to hear this story. I mean, this guy is awesome. You're going to just love hearing from him. He is an unbelievable athlete, somebody who's just got a very energetic, unbelievable personality. And so I just cannot wait again to hear his story. I've known Jay for years, but really never had a chance to like sit down and like talk to him and hear his story again, hear his background, where he comes from, you know, his family, and again, how he got into this crazy thing called cheerleading. So, let's get into it. But before we bring him in, like every coach says, let's do it one more time and let's go full out.
Chaps, do you know what time it is? F-U-L-L-O-U-T. We got control, we got the right, we got the vision, you lose the sight. We will never stop, but we got the drums, yeah. What time is it? Full out. We're live in 5, 6, 7, 8.
And with that, we are full out. I see Jay is here. Let's add him.
What's up?
Jay, my man, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good.
Good. I feel you, man. I feel you. It is the last few months I feel like a lot of people have been chilling. So
yeah.
But again, I
more
appreciate
chilling
your
than you want to do.
No, exactly. And again, I appreciate you joining, and I appreciate you talking about your story and your background. And I was telling people, like, we've known each other for a while. I just don't know your story, man. So I'm excited to like everybody else. I think everybody knows you from obviously from UCF and from USA Coed. You've worked with many teams around the country through VROC and stuff. But, let's hear the story. How did Jay Hollman become Jay Hollman? I mean, how do you get into cheerleading, like, and all that good stuff? And so, as I ask everybody, can I just start from the beginning, man? Where do you come from? Where did you grow up? Family life, things like that. And then, how did you get in this crazy thing called cheerleading?
Yeah, this is a crazy story. But I am from Birmingham, Alabama. Moved around all over Alabama and things like that. But yeah, my family is very close-knit. We are the family of families. Everybody likes to say that they always look at me and be like, I'm the talented one, but it's really my little brother. He's actually absolutely amazing as well. He's an actor, but that's just where my background is, like in Birmingham, Alabama. Mm-hmm. But I started off with cheerleading when I was young, when I was a little kid, like when I was like 3 or 4 years old. It started off with a bet. Well, not a bet, but like a deal. My parents wanted a family friend of mine named Aubrey to play baseball on our baseball team with him coaching. And they were like, no. And then he ended up, like, the parents actually came back to him and was like, well, we'll actually let Aubrey play on your baseball team with Jay if you let Jay try out cheerleading. And I'm like, so they took me to a competition. And when I went to a competition, I was just like in awe of all the boys that's just flipping all over the place. Like, I'm like, yo, I can do that. Mm-hmm. And so they took me to the gym one day and I met this guy that looked exactly like me. We had the same hair, like same dreads and everything. Like, it wasn't dreads, but braids. Yeah, just like that. Look,
when you sent me this picture, I'm like, this is gold.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like that's where it started right there. That's where my strength was in my hair. But it was kind of funny because it was a guy that looked just like me that had the exact same name. My actual name is Jonathan. And so his name was Jonathan as well. And so it was crazy how that worked, that he was so good at tumbling, and I looked up to him like from the get there. So I just wanted to be in the gym all the time. I'm at home trying to flip on the bed, flip on the couch. My parents were like, Jay, you got to stop. But I played baseball and football my entire life, and then I also did all-star cheerleading as well at ACE, All-Stars of Alabama, also at High Fly. That's also in Alabama too. It's a smaller gym. But yeah, just shout out to those programs that kind of like helped mold me to who I am today, especially in the cheerleading world. And so growing up, I cheered. No, everybody gave up on me on tumbling. Like everybody, they all looked at me and they're like, "This guy has no technique. He doesn't care about anything. He just throwing stuff and it looks raggedy." My back handsprings. My back handsprings, this is where the back head spring come from. I used to land on my head all the time. Just, it was terrible. It was terrible technique. So all the coaches like that I've come into contact with kind of gave up on me up until like I was 13, 14 years old. Then that's when I like started going to school and people started making fun of me as a cheerleader, like my football team and things like that. So I was like, you know what? I'm about to prove y'all wrong. I'm about to make y'all look like fools at the end of it, because y'all want to make fun of me right now, but I'm telling you, you don't want to make fun of me whenever I get good at this stuff. So I got in the gym like I was a real life gym rat. I would go to the gym all the time. I would tell my parents, like they would say, they would drop me off. They never stayed to practice, but they would always be like, "What time is practice over?" And I would tell them 3 hours later than what it actually was over. So like if practice was over at like 5, I would say, "Oh, I'm done at practice at 8 o'clock," just so I can tumble more. Like I always wanted to tumble. And I was that type of person that did not want to stunt. You could not get me to stunt because I got so good at tumbling that it was like, that was my niche. That's what I believed that I was supposed to do. And so like me and my boys would get in the gym all day, every day, on Saturdays, Sundays, right after church. I would tumble in church. Like, no, you think I'm kidding. Like they literally
I don't think you're kidding.
They would call me and they would be like, "Jay, we need you on stage this weekend. I need you to tumble like through this whole song, like worship song." And I'm like, "Okay." I'm going up. Like they didn't tell me what to do. I go tumble down the aisles of this big church and I just be on stage tumbling. Everybody loved it. I don't know. Like now that I look back at it, I'm like, why was I tumbling in church? Like for real, for real. But yeah, it was funny. And so like I end up getting better at my tumbling and at my craft. And so like a lot more people, like this is when the cocky Jay kind of started coming out. I started believing in myself way too much.
I don't know, man. This picture right here, I think he was already there, bro. I think he was already there.
I thought I was so cool. I thought I was the flyest one in the gym. But yeah, like this is when the cocky Jay really started to come out, like whenever I was like about 14, 15 years old, because like I had been told like, "Jay, you're terrible. You're a cheerleader. You're made fun of in school all the time." Like I remember one time I like was trying to tumble, my professor, not my professor, I don't know why I'm talking about college, but like my principal at school was telling me, "Bro, go tumble out in the courtyard during lunch." He's like, "Jay, I need you to come tumble." I wish I still had the video, but I'm over here just tumbling and tumbling and tumbling. And all these kids just hated on me. Like all my teammates just hated on me so much because I was a cheerleader. And so one time, one guy tried to trip me while I did a tuck. And he literally like tripped me out of the air and I come up heated. And that's when I got in my first fight. Obviously got in trouble with that. But from then on, I got so much more respect from my teammates because, like, they realized I wasn't going to be, like, who they wanted me to be. I was going to be what I wanted to do. And kids would, like, from that time, they kind of, like, knew not to mess with me. And then on the football field, that's where I thrived as well. Like, a lot of kids knew, okay, Jay's not that way. Like, he's not going to take anything the way that y'all expect him to. So that I kind of like rearranged how people thought of me in that sense. But yeah, I cheered on Ace Warriors for about 4 or 5 years.
For people that don't know, one of the premier co-ed all-star programs in the country, just been around for so long. So, great coaching also, great people at Ace.
Ace Warriors. In 2010 we came in third place. No, 2009 we came in third place. 2010 we came in second place, and then 2011 we caught that dub.
Got the globe.
Finally, yes. Like we got the first and only world championship for Ace. So that was a big thing. I was like, I'm telling you, this is when I was real cocky. I like started having like they called me a cheerleader, but like I would run around the like competitions and I would just talk to everybody. I would just like want to talk to everybody just because that's how my personality was. But yeah, once I won Worlds, I was like, yo, we got to do this again. 2012 come around. Oh boy, we got mollywopped by Top Gun. I got way too cocky. I started trying to do way too much. So like, yeah. And then this is when like 2012 is when I started to realize like I need to do something with my life other than just like tumbling, because that's not going to get me anywhere that I need to go. But I was like thinking about football, that's kind of over for me. It's not going to be a thing. Baseball, I probably could have made it, but like cheerleading was my outlet. So I decided to I actually told my parents that I was going to go to the University of Kentucky, which is crazy because Whitney went to the University of Kentucky. And I ask her all the time, I'm like, if I went to UK, do you think we would have ended up together? She's like, no, you would have hated me. We would have hated each other. I'm like, yeah, probably.
Probably.
And so I decided that I was going to go to the University of Kentucky, but my parents Alabama, like, if you go to Alabama, then we'll be able to come see you. We'll be able to come support. And so I'm like, yeah, that's true. Like, y'all been a part of my life this whole time. Like, that's what I need to do. So I started going to like Alabama clinics for the last like couple weeks, months before. And I was talking to the coaches, and he was like, basically, yes, Jay, we've always wanted you here at Alabama. Like, do this, that, and the other, like tumbling, you are already on point. But if you do these stunts, then you are for sure going to make this team. And I'm like, oh yes, like let's go. Well, I go to Alabama tryouts, which was the same weekend as Kentucky tryouts. And when I went to Alabama tryouts, I did everything that they told me to do. I did everything absolutely perfect. Everything was clean. Everything was like nice. I was like proud of myself. And I walk out the door, and I was so excited to be named on the Alabama cheer team, even though I'm an Auburn fan. That's another thing.
Interesting. Ooh.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm so excited to be a part of this program. And then the list come out, and my name's not on it. And I'm like, bruh, like, I think they made a mistake or something. Like, I'm telling you, this is when I was cocky. Like, this is my cocky time. So I was like, I think they messed up or something. So I go back to my mom, and I'm like, yo, my name isn't on the list. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, my name's not on the list. I didn't make the team. And so as I was walking away, the coach, which was Brian Groeschel at the time, comes up to me. He's like, Jay, I unfortunately couldn't take you. I just really believe that we need college experience athletes. So like transfers coming in. And so I was like, yo, you rather, this is me, I real life said this. I said, you rather take a junior college kid that is throwing less skills than I am, and I'm over here throwing all these hard skills. I'm doing everything that you told me to do, and you just like basically told me like I'm not good enough to make this team. Like, no. And so he's like, well, I think you should go to Shelton State. And I literally was like, no, I'm not going to Shelton State. I'm better than that. I like transparently, that's what I said. And like, no disrespect to Shelton State, they're absolutely amazing, but that's just not my, like, that wasn't where my mind was at in that time. And so I love Krista. I would have loved to have been coached by Krista. Actually got to be able to be coached by Krista at USA. But yeah, like that just wasn't my thing. So I like decided, my mom on the way home, she was like, Jay, it's gonna kind of sound crazy, but like I've been praying this whole time, and God told me that this wasn't the plan, that you wouldn't have made this team, and this wasn't where you needed to be. I'm like, dang, but that sounds like so crazy to me that like they've said that I was gonna make this team, and then now this isn't happening. Well, whatever. And so on the way home, I go to practice. Some friends of mine made the team, and I didn't make the team, still on Ace Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like devastated. Well, I get a direct message from this lady named Jenny Hitt, which is obviously now my second mom. She's a coach of UCF, and I get a direct message from her. She's like, Jay, I've been following along with you since like such and such. I would love for you to come visit UCF. I had heard about UCF, but I didn't really know about it. And so I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I need to do this. But she was like, I know that you were supposed to be going to Alabama and Kentucky, so I didn't even think about even reaching out to you. But I think that you would love it out here if you would want to come take a chance. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll go out there and visit. Well, I step on that campus, and if anybody has ever been to UCF, you can know, like you will know, it's like absolutely beautiful. It's the exact opposite of, that's a beautiful picture right there. But it's the exact opposite of Alabama, just because like Alabama's more traditional and like historical. UCF is very new at the time, like it's modern, everything like that. So it fit my vibe completely. Well, something about this picture, kind of fast forward a little bit. Something with this picture is like Juliana, which is like my little best friend. I call her my little sister now, but she actually comes to UCF, and they did this little nonprofit organization called Limitless Solutions. And what they do is like for people that were born or just did not have an arm or leg or something like that. They did 3D printed arms. They also did like they also made arms that work on an everyday basis with like the impulses. So like I got to meet her, and she just blew me away. Like she comes in there, she was tumbling with one arm. She was doing skills that I couldn't do. And I was like, yo, like this kid is amazing. And she doing it with one arm. And so like we became really good friends. Like obviously I'm freshman in college. I'm trying to get my life together, but she kind of helped me throughout that first year just because I started to understand like where my platform was. And so she kind of balanced it out for me. So she would call me all the time. I'm in class. I get a FaceTime call from Ju, and she's like, Jay, look, I'm building a fort with my friends. I'm like, Ju, I can't talk right now. I'm in class. You're going to get me in trouble. But like, yeah, she just balanced it out for me. She would come down almost every like 2 or 3 months and like just hang out with me. We would go eat lunch. We would go hang out, work on tumbling skills. She would show me what she had knew. It was just an amazing friendship that was bonded by that. But yeah, so that's just the story of how I ended up at UCF.
And so for those people joining us now, we're here with Jay Hollman. If you have any questions for Jay, at the bottom you're going to see a question mark that looks like a deck of cards. Tap on that, send us some questions, and towards the end of the show, if we have a couple minutes to answer a few questions, Jay would be happy to answer them. So what I love about what I've been doing with Full Out Chats is just I've been able to connect with people and hear their story. I had no idea that you were cut at Alabama. I didn't know that. And
I was cut at Alabama, but I like to say that was the biggest blessing that could have ever happened to me.
Like they say, when one door shuts, another one will open.
Yeah, because it really humbled me. Like I'm telling you before, like I was very cocky going into that whole situation. Coming out of high school, I had a lot of friends, a lot of family that supported me. Like everything was, I was just very cocky. And for me to be humbled in that way, that was a blessing for me. And then it led into so many more opportunities that I never knew would happen, like UCF. So like UCF, I end up getting into UCF and found out the week before camp. So I drove.
So literally, you get accepted and you're going to camp.
Yep, drove all the way to Alabama. Drove all the way to Florida. Then had to go right back to Alabama to do camp. And so, like, I found that out, and they were amazing helping me get into the school just because my ACT was good, but my my grades in high school was not the best. It just wasn't. And so they helped out a lot. But yeah, my freshman year is where a lot of stuff kind of came into play. Like a lot of my hardest times were in my first year. And so if you want me to talk about that, I can.
No,
Or
I'm
if you
gonna
got a
say
question.
no. I think that's actually a really good segue because I always tell this to kids about college is like I don't care if you were on the best all-star team in the world or if you
Yeah,
were on the best high school team in the world. Nothing can prepare you for college.
not at all.
It is so different. Please, yeah, if you don't mind, open up and talk about kind of the challenges you maybe had that first year at UCF, like leaving home. You're in
Yeah.
a new state. You're really, I mean, let's be honest
Didn't
here.
know anybody.
Let's call a spade here. You're on a team that you really didn't want to be on. You
Yeah.
didn't even look into UCF. So kind of talk about those challenges. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a challenging year for me, but it was also a blessing of a year because like being cut from Alabama was like heart-wrenching for me because I believed that I was one of the best to ever go into that like tryout, but like at the same time I needed that humbling experience. And so my freshman year I was so excited to go. Like everybody, whenever I came to visit, everybody thought that I was gonna be the cockiest thing ever. But honestly, after Alabama tryouts, I went into those tryouts and I was just like, yo, this is like I'm nervous. Like I was so nervous. Like I did not know if I was supposed to be there or anything like that. And so everybody was afraid to come talk to me. But then after that, it just started opening up doors and everything. And so I remember the first thing that like the first message I got before I even hopped on campus and found out that I was gonna be accepted was John Evans, which was my pastor for my whole career at UCF, but also was the pastor that got like that married Whitney and I.
Okay.
But yeah, he reached out on Twitter and he was like, I can't wait to meet you. Like this, that, and the other. I would love to have you a part of FCA and all this kind of stuff, which is Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Growing up, I was in church all the time, like I was saying before. But like you know how like when you grow up, your parents kind of get you baptized to get you into that point. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, my freshman year was a lot of times where I needed to lean on my faith, and so my freshman year, I made the team. I was lucky enough to be able to be on nationals. I was one of three. Me, Steven, and Mercedes Lambert were able to, of the freshmen that were on the first nationals team, and that really hadn't happened before. And we also, before nationals, we got to go in November to Paris to compete for a world championship in like support of the U.S. National team in that sense as well. So we competed at UCF in Paris. That trip was amazing. If you know me, I do not like food a lot. Like I eat chicken fingers and fries like a little kid. So I went to Paris, and Linda over here is like, Jay, you're not ordering anything. I'm like, okay. Well, she brings out all these foods that I've never heard of. About threw up every last one of them. It was that experience was amazing, but also I wish I would have been able to eat some pizza. So. And so my freshman year, I was solely focused on cheerleading. Like school was a thing because I wanted to be able to cheer. So my fall semester, I focused on school, but also was focused on cheer as well. Made the national team, competed, got like I think we came in second place that year. We beat Alabama, and I was so happy. I was like, let's go. But I ended up in the spring semester, I ended up lacking. Like I started just kind of like relying too much on cheerleading. I would be in the gym way too much, like not focus on school, would not really focus on anything except for myself. Like I would just be thinking about myself. And so transparently, I was failing out of school. Like it was bad. And so my parents told me before they dropped me out there, like, Jay, if you get anything below a C in any class, you're coming back home. I didn't really believe them. So like I ended up failing like almost failing out of school. I didn't fail out of school, but I almost fell out of school my spring semester. And as I was doing this, like somebody, like I would go to FCA and somebody would come up to me. Her name was Kayla. She came up to me one FCA meeting and it was like, Jay, I need to talk to you, but I'm so scared to talk to you. I'm like, why? She's like, because like I feel like this is not my place to come to you and ask, but I feel like God has put this on my life to even come up to you to tell you. And I'm like, what? So she asked me the question. She was like, Jay, what if you weren't blessed with the skill of tumbling and flying through the air? What would you do? Like what if you weren't blessed with this gift that you've been given in cheerleading? What would you do? I'm like, why would you even ask me that? Like, that's the stupidest question. I've been blessed with this gift. Like, that's not even a valid question. But then, like, I was so disrespectful to her in the initial response. But then, like, I go home and I'm like thinking, I'm like, yo, it got to be something more than that. Like, she got to be coming from some sense. And so I go back to her. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I understand what your question was now. And I'm so sorry because transparently, I'm failing out of school right now. And like, it's crazy that you just asked me that question because this could be taken away from me in any sense. And so I'm like, it's crazy that you asked me that question. And so it made me another humbling experience. And so I'm like, yo, she real life just asked me that in the most sincere way possible. And so I was like, yo, I need to get my life together. And so then John Evans, we go to a beach day. We go to a beach. And basically, in the middle of the whole beach thing, he's like, Jay, do you have something to tell me? Like, I'm like, no, why would you ask me this? Well, in the middle of the beach, I was like, yo, I need to get rebaptized. I need to start my life. Like, I need to rededicate my life to my faith because that's been a big thing that has been big on me my entire life. But I need to rededicate it. He's like, okay, where you want to do it? In the ocean? I was like, I don't go in the ocean. I don't swim, bro. Like, I do not do it. So what you trying to get me to do it in the ocean? And so we end up going out there in the freezing ocean, and he baptized me right there in front of all my friends and not family.
Wow.
They were in Alabama, but in front of all my friends, and that's where my life changed for the better. Like, he's like, Jay, it's funny that he says this because he's like, Jay, now that you know, like, you rededicating your life, your platform is bigger than what it ever has been and what it will ever be now. I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, your bounce, and I said, his glory. And that's where my bounce, his glory came from. And then later on, I turned it into my talent, his glory, because honestly, anybody that was blessed to have a gift in anything, tumbling, cheer, football, anything, like, you have a talent and you were blessed with that, and you have a bigger platform beyond yourself that's going to help you. And so, like, it like, that's how my talent, his glory, started. And that's where I believe, like, that's where my life has really, like, changed. And that's where I kind of, like, continue to build my faith on. Because in the hardest of times and the lowest of valleys, I was picked up from a fellow student, like, that was able to go out of her way to ask me the hard question and to be disrespected, but then finally realize, like, I'm wrong. I'm in the wrong in this sense. And so I get a phone call from Linda Gooch and Jenny and my family, and they're like, Jay, don't even come to tryouts this year. I'm like, why not? They're like, because you're moving back home. Your parents are moving you back home. I'm like, it's no way possible. Like, tryouts are tomorrow. And so I went off. I did not move back home immediately. I went with my best friend for like 2 months to Pensacola and tried to live there because I resented my parents, honestly. I felt like they were trying to steal my dream. They were trying to take my dream away. I did not like them in that sense. And so finally, like, I decided to move back home and get my life together because, like, most of that year, I was very resentful, did not want to talk to him. I would go to work, go to school, go to work, come back home, and go back to my room. I wouldn't talk to him for like a couple months. And so I'm like, yo, this is just, I can't do it. And so later on, I decided to like stop feeling sorry for myself and understand that it wasn't my parents. They just was looking out for my best interest. And so I started focusing on school even more, not even realizing that cheer was even a thing anymore. Did not think I would ever be going back to UCF. And then like my fall semester I got a 3.6, and then my spring semester I got a 3.7. And so my parents were like, Jay, are you ready to go back to UCF? I think that you've like really grown. I'm like, yo, I could go back to UCF? And they're like, yeah.
Were you just going to like a local community college then,
Yeah,
or
I was
okay?
going to Lawson State Community College in Alabama. Great school, but did not want to be there, to be honest. And so I ended up being able to go back to UCF. Luckily, my coaches took me and my team took me back and understood, and they started like getting on my butt every single day. Like even while I was at home, they would text me and be like, Jay, are you doing your homework? Jay, like how's your grades? Jay, because I needed that. I needed those people to hold me accountable. And so like this is when a lot of opportunities start opening up like this picture. I ended up getting a phone call for from varsity, and they asked me if I wanted to do a commercial, and I'm like, sure. Like what kind of commercial? And they're like, shoes. I'm like, cool. And so I end up going to Memphis, flying out from Memphis for one day, literally less than 24 hours, and filmed a commercial, tumbling in a hallway, like on this big business building, like everything. I'm on the roof. They got me tumbling everywhere. And so like I started tumbling, and those became my shoes. Like the Varsity of Sins like became my shoes. Like everybody started recognizing me from that. And so backing up, while I was in Alabama, me and my little brother, he's an actor. We both like went and did like a not interview, audition for a movie that they were filming in Alabama, and I was like they wanted me to be in the movie like as a football player, and so I had to give that up because I needed to focus on school at that point. Well, opportunities kept coming while I was at UCF, and I was like, this is just the biggest blessing. So I honestly got to compete. I was lucky enough to compete every year that I was at UCF, even if it was me coming in 5th place that one year or coming in 2nd and losing to Whitney every year. Like that was just so annoying. Cannot do it. That was so annoying. I hated it. But I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna make the best out of these last 3 or 4 years. And so like I started like My Talent His Glory. I started going and doing stuff like outside of myself. I started going to different elementary schools. I started going to different high schools and speaking about my testimony, and then also about like different things. Yeah, that's a cool picture. But got to just go talk and tell people about my testimony. People looked at me crazy when they first saw me, and they were like, oh, you're a wrestler? You're a football player? Oh my goodness. I'm like, no, I'm actually a cheerleader. They started making fun of me again, like I was in school. And I'm like, even though y'all are taller than me, don't try me, like I promise. And so I'm tumbling in the middle of the classrooms and everything. And so all the kids, like, they started falling in love with me, and they're like actually started listening to my story a little bit more, and a lot of them started like going to church and different things like that, and even like started cheering and starting coming to the gym and tumbling with me during open gym. So that was kind of cool that I had like little kids that looked up to me, because I always had little kids that looked up to me, but I never really knew the platform that I had. And so at this point is when I started having all my platforms, like started tumbling at football games across the end zone. Everybody would come up to me. Everybody at UCF would talk to me. I would have the bus, like people. I was my picture was on a bus around school and all this kind of stuff. So like this is where my platform was bigger than myself, and it had to really, like, it was humbling, because I had to realize when I was in high school, I started doing everything for me. But while I was in college, this is where everything was about God. Like, this is a God story. This is His glory. And so I had to like start to realize like I'm growing up. I'm really growing up with this. And so then life really gets different because I started pursuing Whitney a little bit more.
Okay, so we're at this part, which is great. So for those of you that don't know, I interviewed Whitney, his wife, about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So if you want to hear her side of what happened, you can go to that podcast. Now we're going to get Jay's side, which I'm quite sure will probably be different, which is okay, which is awesome.
She lies about everything. I'm joking. She don't lie. She just friend zoned me a lot. So like it was a different little story for me.
So before we get there, real quick, again, we're here with Jay Hollman. We've talked about his journey through UCF, the struggles. Whitney just commented, "No, I do not," which is hilarious.
She's downstairs. I know she can hear me. She could have came up here and said that.
But we are. First of all, before we get there, at UCF, what were you studying? What was your degree? And also, like, was the idea to like kind of make cheerleading your life for a while, or was it kind of like, hey, once I'm done at UCF, I'm gonna be a big boy. I'm gonna get a real job. Blah 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 blah.
Honestly, my parents, like, they could tell you this because they watch it. But they always came up to me and they were like, Jay, cheerleading is not gonna make a career. Like, it's not going to be a thing. And I was like, I know. Like, I promise I know. And so, like, I started going to school for sports and exercise science.
Okay.
And I got my degree in that. And I started doing like minors, but didn't get a minor. I started doing like psychology and communications and stuff like that around school. But like, I did sports and exercise science. And then I decided to go back for a fifth year, just so I can do my life, like try to get one more chance opportunity, because I real life did not think cheerleading was going to be a thing after I graduated. And so I ended up graduating, and I was like, I want to do USA. Leroy and everybody kept on telling me that I need to try out, but I just real life did not believe that I was good enough. Like, I wanted to go to I wanted to get better at skills, but like I did not think that I was good enough. And so that was the biggest blessing for me, because one, I got to win with Whitney after losing to her every year. But also I got to like know like a lot more about Whitney in a team aspect. Like like Whitney was saying before, if I would have ended up at the University of Kentucky, we probably would have been married, because we are two very different athletes. I get very frustrated really easily because I feel like I need to hold myself to a standard, but Whitney like holds her teammates to a high standard as well. So like I think we would have butt heads a lot. But it was definitely a blessing to be on the U.S. national team and to represent them, because she taught me a lot about myself in that sense, and then that whole process did as well. And so did I answer that question?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all go into that. You know, we fall in love with something so much, like cheerleading, but it's rare. Like, you don't think like, man, I can make a living out of this. You know what I mean? Like, you think, you know, like, so I mean, I think it's unbelievable that you continued with it. And good thing you did, because then you literally met the love of your life. So
absolutely,
yeah. You know,
and the thing is, like, it started really. This is where the whole story kind of intertwines. But it started because I just wanted to. I went to Daytona, and I met Whitney, and I literally was like, I told my best friend, I'm like, I'm gonna marry this girl one day. She was dating somebody, and I was dating somebody, but I knew, I was like, I'm about to marry this girl one day. Well, I didn't even speak. I said one or two things. I asked her if she could stunt, and I made a fool of myself, dropped every stunt that I threw at her. And so then I decided to go, that summer is when I really wanted to like take my my talent a little bit further to be able to do UCA staff. And I just really wanted to do it because my best friend Kevin Delgado was graduating the next year. So I decided to do UCA, and I just was so lucky to be on college staff. And yeah, this picture's kind of dope.
No, I love that picture. Yeah.
And so like this is where I met Whitney, really met Whitney, because we got to be close. Like we were just real good friends from the beginning. I think this was in Alabama. Listen to this. I knew that I wanted to marry this girl so bad, but we were still dating, like our respective relationships.
Yep.
That I introduced her to my mom, and I was like, "Yo, mama, this is Whitney. Like, you don't know this, but I'm gonna marry this girl." Okay? And so the whole summer, like, I was just, I was so lucky to be able to be on college staff, one, but also I learned so much from everybody that was around me. And so we just was really good friends. Like, this is where everything started to form, like, just great friendships. I knew that I wanted to marry her, but she didn't have any clue, because I wasn't going to disrespect our relationships in that way. So I, like, just was friends with her. And so then later on, the next year, we end up not being in our relationships anymore. So I was like, I'm about to pursue her. Like, I want to date her. I was like, I want to date her. This is my time. And so we ended up just still being friends, but like we were still talking and things like that. It was just a great thing. And every time I tried to date her, she would friend zone me. It was like 3 or 4 times that she friend zoned me. And I'm like, yo, this is stupid. Like, come on. Like, I know you want to be with me. Stop joking with me. Like, stop pushing me away. But she had a good point of, I was at UCF in Orlando. She was in Kentucky, and our schedules were not going to work. So that's why she friend zoned me and things like that. But finally, yeah, she said, you can't see me, but I'm downstairs cringing. Because she knows she wrong for friend zoning me that long. Goodness. So for everybody out there, if you are getting friend zoned, don't worry about it. Just do it like 3 more times, and then you'll be married. I'm proof. But yeah, so like I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm going full on for it now. She graduated school, so I'm like, I get friend zoned, and I'm like, yo, how many times you gonna friend zone me? I'm on a camp with her best friend, actually, in Missouri. And all of a sudden, I get a text message, and she's, like, pouring her life out to me. Like, she's like, Jay, I'm so in love with you, like, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, this is stupid, Caleb. She just friend zoned me for, like, 3 years, and now she over here, like, 2 years. I'm like, she just friend zoned me for 2 years, and now she finally want to tell me she's in love with me over text message? You gotta be kidding me. So I was like, mad. But I took it. I was like, you know what?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you know what?
Absolutely, you took that.
Let this go. And so she graduated a year before me, because I had to take that year off. But so like I ended up doing a 5th year at UCF, and honestly, that was the best thing, because she, like, when we started dating that year, once she graduated, is because she knew she could travel all the time and see me. But this was also a challenging time for us, because long distance, not only Kentucky or West Virginia to Florida, but she was traveling around the world, like different time zones. Like, I would be in the morning about to go to class, and she would be like at night sleep or whatever, like different things like that. And so that was a challenging time, but she got lucky, because she got to go to Disney World all the time, because she came and visited me, and things like that. So yeah, I ended up graduating, and she was right there beside me. We did USA right there beside me, and yeah, I decided to propose to her. I started doing a lot of different things. My parents was like, Jay, you're doing way too much. You're gonna get yourself in a bind where you can't get out of it, because you're not gonna be able to do anything to beat it for the 1 year anniversary. But I knew I was gonna propose to her, and so I proposed and things like that. And then, yeah, this year now has been the biggest test for anything, because with COVID, like, everybody, it's been affecting everybody, but it affected, like, people that were getting married or having weddings a lot more, because we just didn't know. So just talk about the wedding and everything. We decided to get married in May, but that wedding got postponed because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when we had to postpone it to July, we were like, okay, well, we don't want to postpone it to like the fall. That's way too long. I'm just ready to marry you already.
Mm-hmm.
I've been friend zoned for this long. So I'm ready to marry you. And so we postponed it to July, and some more stuff went on where North Carolina couldn't have weddings in July either.
Oh,
and
my
we
goodness,
found this
yeah.
out. Yep, we found this out a week before the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So then I said, Whitney, what if we just move it to a whole different state, own your family property basically, and let's just do it the same weekend? And she's like, Jay, that's stupid. Nobody gonna be able to do that. Like, that's not realistic and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, just let me do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we end up doing it. And just like I talked about it, if you saw my video or the video from the wedding with me crying all day long in that prayer, it was like, the first time we did it, it was like a big production. We were trying to do it and make it a big production because this was our first, this is our first and only wedding that we were going to ever have. And so I'm like, she has to deal with me for the rest of her life, so we might as well do it big. So the first wedding in May was a big production. All our family friends were going to be there, and then we had to postpone it to July, and we were like, realistically, we're going to have to make sacrifices. And so we were able to make sacrifices, cut down the list a little bit more, and then you get to marry me. You get to be with me every day. Y'all gonna get me in trouble on this thing. Once I get off, Jay, you say all this,
I'm not fishing for nothing. Jay's just speaking openly, which I knew he would do, which I knew would be great.
I always speak openly to everybody, but and it gets me in trouble sometimes. But yeah, and then so the second time I was like, we know we're gonna have sacrifices, and then the third time it was like everything was out of our hands. We just kind of like was leaning on our faith, leaning on God to take that day and make it the perfect day. And as you can see, everything was perfect. I cried more than I ever thought I was gonna cry. I told Whitney I'm gonna cry one time and then I'm gonna be good, and I cried literally the entire day. And so yeah, it was definitely a blessing though.
Well, I remember when we were trying to set up the full-out chat coaches corner for the USA Coed, I was like, hey, things came up and I had to postpone it. And Whitney was like, yeah, we have, was so polite about it. It was like, we have some plans. We probably can't do this one, but maybe the next week, which worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't tell me you guys were getting married. I was like,
the thing about it is she's so good about worrying about everybody's feelings. She's so good about that. Me, I'll tell you straight up, bro, I'm sorry, I gotta do a wedding.
I'm getting married, man.
I gotta do this, that, and the other. But yeah, so this year has been a big thing because not only when we got engaged, we ended up moving to North Carolina, and I just was transparently, I didn't know what I was going to do. But Whitney, before, she already told me, she was like, I'm not moving anywhere for a guy. And I was like, okay, well, I know I'm going to move to you because I'm trying to marry you.
Yeah.
And so we ended up at Cheer Extreme, which was a great experience. We had some amazing kids that we got to work with. We worked with Coed Elite, but also we took on the role of helping out with Lady Lux as well. A lot of amazing kids there that it was so hard for us to even leave. To come to West Virginia. We're in Huntington, West Virginia. For all y'all people that have been blowing up my direct messages, blowing up Instagram, asking me where I live. I live in Huntington, West Virginia, in the middle of nowhere, 35 minutes away from a Chick-fil-A. Goodness.
My goodness,
here,
35
babe.
minutes?
You're amazing. Yes, 35 minutes.
I mean, if you're a chicken guy, obviously Chick-fil-A, and I'm going to assume Raising Cane's you're a fan of. And yeah.
Hey, I'm going to stop you right now. You can't say Raising Cane's. Whitney gets mad. She's about to come in this comment box really quickly and say it's not Raisin. It's just Cane's.
Either way.
So mad.
The cane sauce is
Oh, my goodness.
They're my
chicken
unofficial.
Who knew chicken fingers and fries can be
it's
the
genius.
best thing ever?
I agree. I could talk about my love for Cane's forever. But
Mortar, get out of here. You can go. Talk about some K's, disgusting. Blaze Pizza is fire too, Jenny. Hey, Jenny, this is my second mama right here that I was telling y'all about that direct messaged me. That's where my life changed for the better.
Well,
right there.
So we're about 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes here at Instagram Live. They cut you off in an hour. They just kick you off. So we have about 10 minutes here. But something I wanted to bring up, because you're being very humble about it, in my opinion. You were saying like how you're not the talented one, your brother is, which is like crazy.
Absolutely.
And so like
he's right there, Colby Hollman.
And so like I was Instagram stalking you and stuff, and like you didn't tell me he's on one of the biggest television shows in America right now.
That man is like
he's on Fear the Walking Dead, which is love that show. I absolutely love it. I had no idea that was your brother.
Yes, if y'all don't know, Colby's on Fear the Walking Dead. But he's like, if y'all need to go watch it. Like, honestly, like y'all need to go support the man. Go follow his Instagram. It's right there, Colby Hollman. But like I was saying before, like everybody always comes up to me and is like, Jay, your family is amazing. Like your family is this, that, and the other. Jay, you are the talented one. And I'm like, no, y'all never met my little brother that's bigger than me, like taller than me and everything. I was not blessed with those genes. But, like, this man is absolutely amazing. Like, if you go watch it, and I'm about to start crying right now because I'm so proud of this man. But, like, he literally, he's been a blessing on my life because not only has he pushed me in senses that I'm about to cry because he made me cry at my wedding right now. But he pushed me way further than what I've ever would have been, because he would get in the gym and he would be landing on his face trying to do these standing touch. And then he finally gets it, and then he just continued to push me, because where my craft is in cheerleading and tumbling and I have a huge platform, his craft was always acting and singing. And he went to a fine arts school where you wake up at butt crack done at like 7 a.m., 6 a.m. in school. And then you're there to about 11:30 at night, like all day long, just grinding and grinding and grinding. And not a lot of people see those things. Not a lot of people know about him just because of, like, he's not big on Instagram like I am. But, like, the first day that he was on the Fear of the Walking Dead, and it's going to be there longer and longer and longer, and a lot more things coming out soon. But, like, once you start to realize it, and I will post about it even more and more and more and more about him, just his gift is just that man is talented. He can make you cry just by a monologue that you think is true, but is absolutely made up.
I mean, first of all, I'm jealous of families like you, because that's unbelievable. I mean, but no, Fear the Walking Dead is a great show. It's on AMC. Everybody watch it. I Fear the Walking Dead. I love all that. So I didn't know that was your brother. I think that's so cool. He has he has an awesome character in that last season. So very cool. But let's talk about today. So you just got married, and now you're traveling around with, like, literally, I remember you guys got married, then you went to a camp for V-Rock, and then you did my show, and then you went to another camp or something. And
my goodness.
I mean, you guys are just crazy. I can't believe it. So kind of talk about, what are the Hollmans, the family? What are you guys doing now? Obviously, you are doing V-Rock, but kind of what are the current and future plans for you guys?
Yeah, like, honestly, we work full-time for V-Rock. We were blessed with that. We also work part-time for a cheer gym here, a club program called Pride Athletics. But yeah, we are just on the move. Like, from the wedding, like, literally the wedding was on like one day, and then 2 days later we were flying out to go to, where was it? Utah,
yeah. You guys are in Utah. Yep.
Like, we just,
because I remember for the coach's corner, you guys were in your rental car, like, eating dinner because you just got done with camp. Yeah, it was awesome.
It's definitely a blessing, because, like, ever since we started V-Rock full time last September, the first, like, camp that we did, it wasn't even really a camp. We got sent to Stockholm, Sweden.
Okay,
bro. When I tell you that place is beautiful, it was a blessing. Just like we were saying before, who would have ever thought that cheerleading would have been made a career? One, who would have also thought that we would have been able to do half of the stuff that we've been blessed to be able to come around. And so like different things like Stockholm, Sweden, or whether it means going to different places like within the country to teach camps and things like that, that is definitely been a blessing. Eventually we would like to, or I'm not going to speak for Whitney, but Whitney would like to coach a college program, and I will be the best assistant there is to her. But yeah, just trying to find out where that's going to be, if that's going to be here in the Huntington, West Virginia, or wherever it needs to be. We still would love to be able to work with we're going to love to work with V-Rock, but also be able to further that career in the cheerleading career as well. Trying to get on your level, man, over here at Purdue. That black and gold. Wrong black and gold.
There's nothing wrong with black and gold. Ow. All I know is, like, you could have came and tried to Purdue, and you would have made my team, buddy. I mean,
yeah, I can't do the cold, though, bro. I'm already in Huntington, West Virginia.
Indiana doesn't get that cold. I mean, I'm from Wisconsin.
Y'all get snow.
We do.
Alabama, it literally like has a freckle of snow, and everybody's freaking out.
Yeah. I mean, we do a little bit. I mean, I'm from Wisconsin where we can get like a foot of snow in one night, you know. So, I mean, it can get crazy. Yeah. But so we're almost here at the end, and I'm going to ask you the question I ask everybody to end my show. You know, and I'm sure you've had a lot of it, so I'm going to ask you if you can just think of one. What is the one piece of advice that you've either been given from a coach, teacher, pastor, parent, friend, whatever? One piece of advice that once you heard it, it literally just stuck with you the rest of your life and you still live by it today.
No matter what you do, go at it full force. Don't be afraid to be yourself, and love everybody around you. Like, honestly, like, as long as you are personable with people, like, the best thing I would hear is your resume gets you in the doors, but your personality gets you the job. So, like, if you can have an amazing resume, but if you're not personable, if you're not relatable, you're never going to get that job. It's just not going to happen. No matter what you're doing, go at it full force. Appreciate everything that you're doing and everybody around you.
Jay Hollman, man, I mean, I'm quite sure we could have talked for another 2 hours, but I think
I got a lot of freaking jokes. Like, it's so funny.
By the end of it, though, I think Whitney would be in a ball in the corner, like cringing from all the stories that you would be sharing. So we'll save Whit.
You know, I am a big jokester. I literally 98% of my life is just a joke. I just joke around. So, knock knock.
Who's there?
A broken pencil.
A broken pencil who?
Never mind, it's pointless.
You're going to be a great dad, because that's a good dad joke. That's a great dad joke right there. That's what I'm talking about. Well, I mean, I know
Whitney came up here.
Oh, are we going to have like a guest here?
She about to knock me out. Look at her.
Hey, Whit.
She cute.
You did a really good job.
But West Virginia is not far from Purdue, so once we're able to start practicing and getting stuff, if we can, I'd love to bring you guys in. It would be a pleasure to work with you guys. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, how far away is that? Like 5 hours?
How far are you guys from, like, Columbus, Ohio? Do you know?
Oh, like 2 hours.
Okay, Columbus is 4, so 6.
Oh,
Maybe 6.
that's not bad at all.
Nope, easy drive.
We do that all the time.
We'll definitely talk about it, man. That'd be a lot of fun. So, Jay Hollman, I thank you again, my friend. This was a lot of fun. This will be posted on YouTube, and I'll make it into a podcast for later so people can listen to it if they want.
Absolutely.
Jay, take care, man. Nothing but love. Thanks for sharing the stories. I'm quite sure I'll bring you on as a guest sometime again here in the near future, buddy.
Just let me know. Thank you. It's always a blessing to talk to you.
I will, man. All right, everybody. Hey, have a great weekend. Have a great week, Stay safe. Stay healthy. Have a great day.